How you doing? My name is Ron Truppa. I'm the founder and executive director of the Catalina Film Institute and the Catalina Film Festival, and I am on Breaking the Biz today with Brett Lieberman.
Break the biz. Break the biz. Break the biz.
Stay tuned for today's episode of Breaking the Biz, an informative podcast where we dive into the world of entertainment by interviewing seasoned professionals who have made their mark in the industry. Gain invaluable insights as they share their personal journeys, offering advice on navigating the dynamic landscape of the entertainment industry. Whether you're an aspiring actor, musician, filmmaker, author, animator, or any creative soul, tune in for expert career guidance, insider tips, and first-hand accounts on breaking into the entertainment industry. Get ready to unlock the secrets behind successful careers and fuel your own passion for the limelight. Please remember to like this video and to subscribe to our channels for more great conversations.
Greetings from Breaking the Biz, brought to you by Yes I Can Unity Through Music and Education. I'm William Felber, your navigator through the intriguing universe of the entertainment industry, as revealed by the visionaries and creators who bring it to life. Stay tuned as we delve into diverse insights from the forefront of entertainment, hearing from pioneers, creators, and agents of change. Prepare for a journey filled with tales of innovation, resilience, and the undying quest for artistic brilliance.
Welcome, everyone, to Breaking the Biz podcast with the Yes I Can crew. We have got a great guest and a great show for you tonight. We have Mr. Ron Truppa, who is the executive director of the Catalina Film Institute and Catalina Film Festival. With over 25 years experience in the entertainment industry and 15 years of visionary leadership as the founder and executive director of the Catalina Film Institute and Festival, Ron Truppa has shaped a premier international platform that champions new media and independent film. Under his stewardship, the festival has transformed Catalina into a global destination for filmmakers, for artists, blending imagination, education, and the celebration with cinematic arts. Through Ron's initiatives, Catalina has become a beacon of creative talent worldwide, offering not only showcasing groundbreaking films, but also a nurturing space for those emerging as storytellers. His work has empowered a new generation of artists, fostering innovation, cultural awareness, and amplifying voices across diverse backgrounds and continents. Driven by CFI's core philosophy, imagination, education, and destination, Ron ensures that the art of storytelling continues to thrive, inspire, and spark meaningful change within the entertainment industry. Ron, I know we have been working on this for quite a while. I'm glad the day has finally arrived, and we are here. I know you got the film festival right around the corner. Am I correct?
You are correct. It is September 24th through the 28th, I believe.
Okay. So lots of work leading up to it, I'm sure. Tons of work when you're actually holding it down. And then as soon as it ends, I know you're probably working on next year.
It is. It's a long hustle for a good 12 months. I mean, you can almost say it starts at the festival for the current year to even kickstart and promote the next year right after it, and we open submissions right after the festival ends. So it's a year-round effort. It's definitely more than I thought it would be when we first started 15 years ago.
Yeah, no, you've put in some time, and I'm sure you've had some great years, and even the success is going to continue, and you're going to have some more big amazing things. Before you started a film festival and holding all this down in Catalina, what was let's go back to young Ron. What was when I grow up, I want to be? What was that job? What did that look like?
I mean, mostly it was entrepreneurial. It was, yeah, I got to be honest. I always just wanted to make a really big impact on the world, and I was one of those kids that had the big dreams, and I just thought, what are the positions that I could put myself in that would make the greatest impact? So even when I was in high school, I was in Future Business Leaders of America. I was model legislature. I was president of my junior achievement. I was president of my student council. I was president of the state student council. So like I was just kind of, and I was president and class president in college too. But like, I mean, to me, it was never about the titles or the accolades. It was always about what can I do to put myself in the most impactful position to change, either policies or things that people were dealing with, that were struggling with, or just things that we liked and wanted, and make it fun and simple like that. Like what would just kind of bring the fun. So I probably did a little too much, and you can see that, academia fighting with the social sort of extracurricular activities. But I think in the end you kind of become someone that just fights for people's voices. I mean, there's a lot of people that say a lot of things, but they don't want that limelight, or they're afraid to stick their neck out a little bit. God knows I still do it today in my kids' elementary school. But it's one of those things where I just wanted to put myself in positions that would either entertain, because I got into acting, and I got into theater, and I got into musical theater, and I got into owning a nightclub in college, and owning a restaurant across the street from it. And my college campus wouldn't allow the school buses to come because they were afraid about underage drinking. So we had police officers that would actually stand in front of that we would hire to stand in front and make sure no one that was underage got in. And then ended up figuring out how to get people there. So I had stops around campus on public roads, and got three school buses there to have three different stops and bring kids to and from the club. The club would close first. My restaurant across the street would close second. So the pickup would be there. So, I mean, to me, it was just always about the entrepreneurial spirit of, one, how do you evoke the fun? And two, what's the lesson? What do you educate with? Obviously, a club in college probably isn't too much of the lessons you want in life, but my lessons were intact. I mean, I wasn't ever drinking on the job. I always saw businesses as either a nightclub with alcohol or a lollipop business. Either way, you couldn't drink while you were at work. So for me, it was just more about the entrepreneurial pursuit. And then, take that into student politics and stuff like that. Then I just sort of became, um, you know, someone that just wanted to make a difference. And you never really know what that is, and you just kind of pursue it. You never really know in your gut, it's probably making a difference, but you never really know where that'll end up. And
Yeah,
God
no,
knows I never thought I'd run a film festival.
right. And we're going to get there. So, but everything you've shared up to this point does show the entrepreneurial mindset. Like, to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to be adaptive, you need to solve problems, right? You need to be able to communicate, you need to be able to lead, you need to have a why. The why always pushes the what you're doing. And you kind of described all of the above, being able to solve the problems when indeed you had to deal with underage drinking and using two locations. But there is a lot you do learn in life with throwing events and dealing with people in a restaurant. All of those things, and the management and the leadership that's needed, all does pave the way for you creating a festival and having all the skills you need to make that successful.
Yeah, but more
So
importantly, you can't let people say no to you for anything. So, some people hear that and they're like, wow, that was pretty cool. And you know what? It wasn't. It was a lot of work. There were some cool moments where you can sit back and go, that's pretty cool. Even today with the film festival and the film institute, which we will get into. But like there's always those people that will praise you with the accolades and all that stuff that you do and you end up doing, but they don't know the true hustle. They don't know that even when I wanted to start that restaurant when I was 19, 20, I had to go in front of the city hall, and they had to approve business permits, and they said no. They said, we don't think that we need another ice cream lemonade stand with a deli over there. And they basically voted on it and said no, they won't give me the business license. And I turned around to them, and I was state student council president at the time, or just came off of it. And the governor of Rhode Island, which I was the state student council president of, had functions around the schools, and I had to go and present as leader of the student body. Which, by the way, could sound like a prestigious role, but I actually ran for student council president of the state unopposed. So when I wanted to do it, nobody ran against me. So, it's wow, he beat everybody. He really just slugged it out. My speech in front of that council was, I'd love for you to vote for me for all of these reasons. Da, 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 da. But the truth is, no one's running against me. So feel free to vote either way. So even though that's a crazy thing that's on my resume, it's like, wow, you were student council president of your whole state. I ran unopposed. So some of your best accolades can come and fall in your lap like that. You just have to stick your neck out again. But I turned around to that city council, getting back to my reason I said all this, and I said to them, I was sitting down with the governor of the state who was a very big businessman, and that's how he became governor, and this is what he wanted to do, and change the financial status of the state. And he said, what's wrong with your generation? No one's starting businesses. He's like, you're all working for corporate structures and you're not putting yourself out there. You're not becoming a part of the community. You're not offering something up that everybody, could benefit from. And I turned to that city hall and I said that. And I said, this is coming from our governor who told me to stand in front of you, essentially, and say, I want to start a business. I want to contribute to the community. They turned around, voted again, passed the business license, and everybody, it was like one of those movie moments. Everybody in the city council that was in the audience stood up and was like, woo, and it was a cool moment. But the point is, I could have put my tail between my legs and just walked out. Never had the restaurant, never had the nightclub, never had those cool stories. Everyone's like, wow, that was ambitious. If you let people tell you no and you accept that answer, that's your fate. If you don't accept that as your fate, and I know there's a lot of people over here that probably have self-doubt and they probably don't think that they can, or they're good enough, or they're the right person for the job. We're all the right person for the job. You just have to make yourself the right person for the job. And you're going to stumble and you're going to fail and you're going to go, oh my God, I lost that money. And we probably should have put security cameras over there and not lost money from the register, or the bartender was pouring too much. But you fix all those problems and you become really educated on the job very quickly of what you said you wanted to pursue. So I think, if anything, early ambitious people, don't let those first few stumbling blocks trip you and keep you down, because they can set a mental block for the rest of your life if you allow people to tell you no.
I think that's one of the most important lessons is sometimes no just means no, not right now, or you need to know when it's the right time to fight, when it's the right time to step away, try something new, but being persistent, resilient, and again, coming back to your success, having a strong growth mindset where you're going to learn from any situation. I loved how you kept it real. Like, not everything is all roses and wonderfulness. There are some ups and downs, and there's learning lessons. And when you're throwing shows, you lose money on certain shows, you make money on other shows. All of those things that you said, it could be someone taking from the register, over pouring, not booking the right artist for the right night with the right crowd, or dealing with the politics of a city where people are going to say no. A lot of times people don't want to take a chance on something, and you have to prove them wrong. And it very persuasive to say, like, the governor, I'm having this conversation, and the youth is not starting businesses, which is true. We always talk in our program about being an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, and the main difference is you're either going to bet on yourself, you're going to fund it yourself, and you're going to take those chances, and if it hits, you are going to hit quite well, or you're going to take all of that intelligence, drive, and bring that to a company and make someone else richer. But at the same time, you can grow from that experience. So, but if you can, and you can do it on your own, why not be your own boss and create something? So I'm glad you mentioned that. So in college, what did you major in?
It started off first as psychology because I really enjoyed, obviously peeling all the layers of the onion and finding out what's inside. But then it became the psychology of business, which is marketing. So I got my degree in marketing.
Love that psychology of business, mark. And there is so much in marketing. We watched a great video, kind of talking about how Apple sells their products, and they're always about the why, and that gets people to buy into any product a lot faster than what you're just selling them or what you're providing them. And obviously, Apple keeps giving us the same Apple phone over and over, and we eat it up, and we're like, I got to get the new phone. Um, but not too much change. But the why always does. Once you believe in a company, you have no problem investing. And I'm sure all of that is covered in Marketing 101.
Yeah, and more importantly, I loved not the fact that choices can be better choices or worse choices, because that truly doesn't fully exist, because everyone's different and choices are subjective and decisions are subjective. But it's always like, what is the stronger or the weaker choice? And that's the research you really have to do. Because when you go into anything, you have to ask yourself those marketing questions. And this is marketing 101. What's going to make it better? What's going to make it worse? What's going to make it taste better? What's going to make people like it better? What's going to people hate it? What's going to people, turn off by it? What's going to be the right message? What's going to be the wrong message? To which group is that going to be the right or the wrong message? Is it translated correctly? I remember when Target came to my small city of Providence, Rhode Island, they drew a 50-mile radius around Boston and said, in big billboards in downtown Providence, the capital of the state, Target is happy to be in downtown Boston. Oh, no, the greater Boston area. And people went irate because it's their own state. It's the capital of their city. And they're looking at a Target billboard saying Target's happy to be in the greater Boston area. They felt, excluded. They didn't feel like it was something directly hitting them, and no one did their research. So, like, really, you have to be very careful about not just what's important to you, but understanding that inclusion isn't trying to convince people of your message and what you want to put out there, but it's including them in what you want to do with your message. So if you try to convince people, you're going to go up a real slippery slope. But if you try to include people with all of their backgrounds, all of their ethnicities, all of their religious beliefs, with all of their openness or closedness, then you will have a better chance at kind of talking to people rather than isolating them.
I love that. Very, very intelligent. So let's talk about your career path. Obviously, you've got restaurant, you've got the club. What comes next? Do you do something within entertainment that drives you in that direction of a film festival?
So I was obviously big in theater and musical theater in high school. I did nothing with it in college, probably because I had these businesses while I was full time at Providence College, and also student politics. But then my senior year, I got rid of the businesses. I sold them, and I started working in deregulated energy. I started working for like Providence Gas, and it was totally a juxtaposition of what I was. I mean, I was always jumping around in my seat and singing and dancing, and and I was a good employee, but obviously I had the entertainment bug. So I did leave the corporate world forever. Thank God. And that's not a that's not a slight on the corporate world, but it just wasn't for me. And I started acting in theater. I started working with uh, Trinity Repertory, which is this Tony Award winning regional theater in Rhode Island that I was doing Othello, and I was doing A Christmas Carol, and then I would go to Boston and I'd work at the Pepsi Forum with some theater. Like, it just kind of went real quick as an actor, where I started doing commercials, and then there was a TV show called Providence way back in the day. I'm definitely aging myself. And then there was just, Rhode Island Lottery commercials, all that stuff. So my next move, up until when I was about 25, was moving out to Los Angeles. I just wanted a bigger stage, a bigger pond. I did start an internet company right before the bubble burst in 2000. And it was called everydayservices.com. And it was sort of like a blend between Craigslist and eBay, where you could trade your services, you could find things. And it was kind of a cool website. You could probably look at it on the waybacktimemachine.com and actually still see what it looks like. And then we merged with a company called icchina.com, and they had 1/8 of the world's Chinese speaking population on there. But then it really just bursted quickly. Then I just said, okay, I'm going to go full on into entertainment. Started my company, Truppa Entertainment, and moved to California. That was about 2000.
Okay, so you come to California not having a job locked in, starting your own LLC and moving out.
Yeah.
So you're out here now. Do you end up are you in LA? Are you in Catalina? Where
I'm in
in
Los Angeles. I've never lived in Catalina.
Okay.
Um, but I can get to that when you're ready about how that all came to be. But basically, it was living in Los Angeles. I've always lived in the Valley. I love the Valley. It's more suburbs to me. It's more like back where I'm from. Obviously, we'd all like a beach in front of us, but that was never an affordable thing to do. So I lived here in the Valley since 2000, so 25 years.
Okay. So you're in the Valley. Are you doing everything all on your own as far as how are you making money? Um,
I was working at a gym called Sports Club LA, which is now Equinox. But that was friends of mine from Boston that I met in acting class had this job. So we basically were working behind the fitness desk and just making sure everything was running smoothly on the gym floor. But it was a strategic job because every producer and A-list actor in Hollywood was there. So it was like one of those crazy gyms on Sepulveda and Santa Monica where they have like the Ferraris and all that stuff pull up to valet. They have a restaurant in there. They have a sun deck on the top where you can order drinks. It was kind of a crazy. They had a spa. They had sports medicine treatment. So everyone from like Queen Latifah to Sofia Vergara to you name it, they were all members and top producers. Everyone you can think of in the A list of Hollywood that actually wanted to be public went to this gym, and they had privacy. But you met interesting people. I used to play basketball with Adam Sandler and Nelly. So like, I mean, it was just an interesting place to be.
okay. So
So that
networking,
helped
obviously.
network.
Yeah, very, very good natural network. And obviously being a theater person and being able to speak and being part of, your class with all the stuff that you did. Obviously, networking is something that might come easy to you.
I think so. I mean, there's nature and there's nurture, and I don't think I've popping out of the womb. I don't think I was ever afraid, and I do see the difference in natures with people, even in my own siblings. I have two older sisters. So my oldest sister, she doesn't want people to sing "Happy Birthday" to her at a restaurant during her birthday. And no, but she's a school teacher, and she gets in front of her class, and she's like, boom, full on performance mode and no fear, but she regulates it. She flips a switch. But for me, yeah, it's never been a problem. I do understand how it can be. So I never took that for granted. And I used to always make sure that I was always inclusive of people that would kind of stay off into the sides. I was kind of friends with everybody and never had specific I had my best friends, but I was more friends with everybody and never had the closest friends, if that makes sense. Like I just really loved people. I always loved people. And then I will say those moments when you're scared and you're like kind of afraid to approach people, I would make it my goal to make them smile. I don't know where I got that from, but I just like if I can make this person smile because they maybe look like a little mad or grumpy, and I feel like nobody's ever really mad or grumpy. They're just usually afraid to talk or afraid to, engage. So I just always made it my goal to make people smile, no matter what. Even if it was the simplest "Hi, good to see you." Some of them I had to work on many times in school, and like "Hi" every day for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and all of a sudden I'd crack a smile out of them or make a face or like to me it was just always so important to network with people naturally and not force it like a car salesman. Nothing against car salesmen, but like the cliche idea of a car salesman where it's like, I got something for you. I want to sell you something. It was just always very natural how much I wanted to engage. And when you are kind of scared about that, which there's times where I always, you try to flip a switch as best you can or emulate someone that you appreciate their ability to do that. I used to be very good at impersonations. I still am. But I would always kind of say, what would my friend so and so do in this situation? And I would kind of pretend I was them. And then it kind of took the pressure off me to be me in your face versus my friend in your face because I know they can do it really well. So,
Interesting.
but so then you kind of become who you want to be. So then you start seeing these people again and again and again, and then you sort of adopt it as who you are.
Okay. I love that. So you're here, you're at the gym. Where does the connection to Catalina Film Festival? Talk me through that story.
So I had a acting manager who is amazing. We're still friends to this day. And I didn't even know Catalina existed. So like back east, we have like Block Island in Rhode Island. There's Long Island in New York. There's all these little islands off the East Coast that we know about, but I never knew. We have Newport, Rhode Island. Um, I never knew there was an island or any islands off the coast of California. We don't hear about those islands back east. We just don't because every Channel Island except Catalina is forever wild in a nature preserve or a military base. But we still have never really heard of Catalina. So an acting coach of mine had her birthday parties out there, and there's like a closed off area called Hamilton Cove. It's like a gated community with these cliffside villas, but you can like basically Airbnb them. And she would have her birthday parties. And I'm like, this is amazing. I didn't know this even existed. And I'm like, you really feel like you have to change your currency. It feels like you're going to Italy. It feels like you're going to, the French Riviera. It's just strange European Mediterranean feel. A little island dominated by golf carts with license plates. No one has an actual car, and all these tiny little houses that haven't changed much in about 100 years. But it also happens to have this gorgeous 1,200 seat theater that is the first sound theater ever built. And the ballroom on top of it is the largest circular ballroom in the world that used to hold about 6,000 people before fire code. Go figure, they wanted to keep people safe. Um, and it's just this gorgeous theater with this huge Tiffany lamp, the size of a tractor trailer above the entire ballroom. And I'm thinking, there are so many film festivals on every street corner in Los Angeles that mean nothing really, except for you'll go to them and you'll say, oh, okay, the festival director's 5 films are in this festival. And that's why we're sitting here, because we have to see this festival director's films plus all their friends. So there's a lot of those festivals. There's 14,000 in the world now. There was about 9,000 when we started. And I said, this is Hollywood. This is Hollywood, legendary stories and historic architecture. Why isn't anyone paying tribute to this place? So that's kind of how that started. And then talk about small town politics and you talk about, the barriers and the hurdles that you can jump over again. I definitely met them with this thing. So if you see any gray
Let's
hairs
talk
in
about some
here,
of that. What's crazy though is when you do have a successful event, you're bringing people to Catalina. So when you're doing your festival, people are eating in the restaurants, people are staying in the hotels, people are boating over. People should be embracing that and loving it. I'm sure maybe by year 15 they now get it, but in the beginning sometimes people don't always see the vision. So how did you have to go about, obviously you see the location, that it's unique, there's nothing there. How do you plant the seeds? How do you go up against the bureaucracy that's saying, I don't know if we need that here?
first, Brett, I love you for saying that. Because that couldn't have been so much more of the truth than but I lived it. And honestly, I can honestly say that The bureaucracy that I've experienced, if I had to culminate it all together throughout all my years, it's a lot of fear based stuff that gets in your way and not a lot of real stuff that gets in your way. So, even from that city council in North Providence trying to open up my business permit to, they probably thought, young kid, this is going to be trouble. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Like everything is sort of fear based and not really based in reality, or maybe maybe I'm the young guy that maybe they don't fully trust yet, and they want to put this responsibility in someone's hands like that that's probably trying. But I will say that yes, they didn't fully understand, and a lot of people don't understand what film festivals do. Let's be honest about that. um they think we hang out in dark rooms all day and watch movies, and that's kind of the extent of a film festival to an outsider looking in. um we tried to be very clear that this was to promote the history. I think also when you have a small resort island, there may be other people that would have liked to do that same idea, and you're sort of an outsider kind of coming on their turf. And maybe that we could do it and tell us about this event and how does it work, sort of thing, where you have to have alliances sometimes. And I think what we did was we did a really good job aligning with people that really got it. And I think you have to find those people in life, not just in your businesses, but you really have to find the mentors, the people that go, this is a good idea and we want to go to bat with you. And that's what made us survive, because honestly, when you're dealing with private property, especially, you don't have to be there. They could lease it to you or they could lease it to somebody else. And I think what happened was we became such an institution over the 15 years. We were able to bob, weave, and kind of, jump hurdles that were kind of either thrown at us by mistake, by not knowing, or just maybe because people just didn't get it. And they were like, okay, well, give us this much because, let's face it, Catalina Island and the Catalina Film Festival look like it's pretty fancy. So we look like we're dripping in diamonds and that we have all this money. But the truth is, the Catalina Film Festival is very expensive to put on because it's an island. So we have to double and triple all of our equipment, all of our rental stuff. We have to pay and bring staff over there and volunteers over there because there just isn't enough resources on the small city that's on Catalina Island. So now we're paying for thousands and thousands of dollars in lodging and travel and food. So there's a lot of expenses that we have that other festivals that you would just drive down the 101 or the 5 freeway or the 405 don't have. They put all that to the budget of their event. We're putting it to logistics and just getting help over and just getting people over and an actual army of people before we even start spending money on the event. So it's interesting. People see what we do. Obviously, it looks like a little can. I purposely, for branding issues and being the marketer I am, wanted those tuxedos and gowns from year one. People thought I was crazy to do that, but in the same sense, I wanted those pictures to kind of depict what we were trying to sell. And that was the elegance of the old Catalina from the 30s, 40s, and 50s that I wanted to bring back. And that was the whole ambition behind it. But yeah, there's a lot of stories that I don't want to tell just because I feel like they're so far behind us. But there's stories that can bankrupt you. And let's just say that the Catalina Film Institute never went bankrupt, but there are times where you're going, how are we going to pay the bills because of the huge quotes you get from rental companies or the huge catering quotes you get from island resort people that mostly handle weddings and medical conferences, and they think, okay, we can give you that same quote, and they don't believe, at least they didn't used to believe, the same exact thing that you said. We're bringing people that have never seen the island before from all over the world. We're filling up the restaurants, we're filling up the hotels, we're getting people to pay for travel on the ferries and the helicopters. So until they started seeing more of that picture, the quotes went down. But honestly, it was like a break even or lose money sort of experience the first few years, 5 years. I mean, it wasn't fun. We call
No,
it punishment, by the way. That's a
yeah,
word we have called punishment.
I was gonna say, you have to go into when you're starting something ambitious like this that you are going to lose money. Coachella, you think about that, how many millions and millions they lost till they started making a profit. So when you have a vision and you're building it, and when you build it, obviously people come. The better you build it, more and more people come. I don't want to go into those crazy how did we survive stories, but I'm just curious, from year one in perspective, comparing it to year 15 right now. um Talk to me about the growth difference. I mean, I imagine year one, you're fighting to get sponsors. By year 15, you have sponsors knocking on your door to get involved.
I will tell you something inspiring for anyone that wants to start something. Now, I don't recommend starting something in a saturated field like a film festival. People's asked me today, they're like, "Can you help me start this film festival?" And I'm like, "Don't do it unless you have something so unique and you want to put your fingerprint on something that's really cool or niche in a certain category that really hasn't been covered before. Do not enter the market of 14,000 film festivals because you will be another one on the circuit." But with that said, when you launch something, you also trigger something in people. And I will say that you have a pretty exciting time your first 1 or 2 years getting sponsors. Sponsors that wouldn't even come around like maybe year 6 or 7, because people really like being a part of something new. And if you can say it's not only new, but it's exciting and it's different, and this is what we're going to do, people like to take a chance on that. They really do. And they might not always give you money because they understand businesses fail pretty quickly in the first 3 years. But product support, especially, they will give you a chunk of help thinking this can be the next big thing, especially if it looks, tastes, and feels good. We happen to have the only resort island off the coast of California. That's a great marketing gem. There was a celebrity, old school celebrity, already attached to it, but also new celebrities still go to Catalina. That was another marketing gem. So there are factors that you can sell people on your idea, no matter what it is. I will say now, we went through a pandemic, and the pandemic we did in Long Beach. We had the world's first. You have to innovate, you have to turn, you have to make sure you keep going. We had the world's first drive-through film festival on the red carpet, and we had people get out of their cars. We have our big 30-foot long by 20-foot wide red carpet we got year one at the Emmys. We had them drive over it, got out of the car, pictures. But I looked it up. It's the first drive-through film festival ever in the world. I've never seen one before, but we had to improvise. It didn't buy us a cup of coffee, but it's kind of a cool kind of pat on the back. Maybe I should call Guinness. But then we just did a bunch of film screenings in Long Beach at the Scottish Rite in Long Beach on the side of the building. Big, big white brick building. It was perfect. And it was fun. And we had our year 2020, right? Is that when it was? 2020?
Yeah.
And then because we are a festival in the fall, we had Omicron, which scared a lot of people in August and September. So it cut half our audience. Then we had Delta in 2022, cut our audience in half again. Then 2022, 2023 was a double strike from the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild. So if you don't think the hits can still keep coming when you're rated
They
one of
come,
the
they
50,
come, and they come, and they come.
because so at this point we're the top 100, really the top 20 to 50 in the world on Film Freeway. That's the portal where everyone submits their films. So out of those 14,000 festivals, we're considered one of the top 25 to 50 every year for the past 11 years, best reviewed by the actual filmmakers. So it means a lot to us. And then Movie Maker Magazine has called us one of the top 50 film festivals in the world, worth the entrance fee for 2 separate times. So we're on top of the game, but the hits can still keep coming. And SAG-AFTRA said no talent can go to any of the film festivals. So even when we're doing okay in 2023, sponsors drop out. Then we figure out no celebrities, no talent. Anyone that is afraid to even be photographed and get thrown out of their unions doesn't want to show up. and you figure out how do you survive. So last year was a full year back on year, and this year will be, hopefully, without any things coming from the heavens, another full year coming back on. So you even take those punches. And, I would say that I would like the bank accounts to have a little bit more cushion right now going into year 15. But we took a couple good hits the past few years. So you're still fighting for your idea. You're still fighting for your vision. We're successful on paper. You know, when I first came to town, I dated an actress who was very well known, and she didn't have a job in about a year and a half, and she didn't know how to pay her bills. Now, this was a very big eye opener for everywhere, and she would sign autographs for people. That was fame. But she didn't know how she was going to pay her rent the next month after. Like she really just needed to book work because things fell through. So the success and the accolades and all of that stuff that we hold so important and we wish we have, um, it really doesn't mean everything. It really just means you got a pat on the back. And financially, you still have to figure out ways to survive. If you want your vision to still work, you still have to bob and weave. You still have to go with the punches. So, all that stuff that people want to accomplish, it's there on paper for you. You got it. I got it. Hey, good for you. But if you don't keep fighting and you don't fight all the time just to survive, I don't care if you're worth $30 million, that can all fall through in a day. It's happened to a lot of people. So don't ever make financial success your goal for any of these businesses. Obviously, you want to be financially free, but there's always hits the world can throw you. So diversify. The Catalina Film Institute has learned to survive through those times. We had to do more stuff online. We had to make sure that we were doing more with education and students, and that we could do platforms like this more, and charge a price for this type of education. And there was a value to that we were never tapping into. We had to make our merchandise game go up bigger, especially this year with year 15. So you always have to make sure you ask yourself, if everything fell, if my business model that I am counting on and I see falls, what else is there to support it? It's just like diversifying your stock portfolio or your financial situation. If you're not diversified, you won't go with the punches. You really won't. You will sink. So don't just put all your eggs in one basket with any venture that you want to take. Make sure there's a couple things on the fire.
That's super important advice. Let me ask you. So obviously, you're the vision, the brainchild, and the drive catalyst behind the film festival. How many people do you have on your team?
Consistently all year, there's about a bare bones 7 to 8 of us, I would say, all throughout the year. And obviously that snowballs as you get closer to the big events and turns into, like, 100, 120 volunteers and support staff and all of that stuff, because you need all of that help at these events. But to be honest, it's the same at even the big festivals. It's a small circuit. So, like, I'm friends with people in Santa Barbara. I'm friends with people in Mill Valley and Napa Valley. It's usually a small team keeping the glue together that then snowballs and expands during these events. And I appreciate you saying what you said about being the visionary and about being the person that got everybody together. But the truth is, that's the easy part. Because what everybody else has done, and we've had a lot of team members that have stayed on all 15 years, what everybody else has done has kept this thing alive. Not me. I may have had that impetus. I may have had the idea. I may have been the Pied Piper that brought everybody to the table, but it's the team that kept it alive. It's the team that I wouldn't want to do this by myself. It's too much work, even with a team. So it's great to have the idea. Then you got to throw that away. You can't live off of that inflated balloon. You have to, thank you very much, but please look at the team and applaud them. And that may sound just, it's like humble and humility, on purpose, but it is. It takes a village to do any of this stuff. Nobody does this alone. Elon Musk doesn't work alone. Jeff Bezos does not work alone. Like, these people have ideas. They may be smart enough to construct it and see where it can go, but it's an army. It's an army of people. So
Yeah,
we only get starting founding credit. That's it.
yeah. No, I was going to say, and on top of that, though, it is intelligent people like you who find the right team members to help make that vision a fruition. So you have to put your team together wisely, and obviously you have to survive and still be here year 15. I want to ask one last question, and then I want to give
Can I
time
interrupt you
for.
real quick before you ask
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
question?
Go for it.
Be very careful about who you weed out. So, yes, you have to be talented at picking, but you also have to be very talented at who you no longer work with. Because there's always people that can poison that well. There's always people that can suck energy from you. And in 15 years, you go through a lot of people. But yes, the core people, God bless them, they've stuck with it. They're great people. And then you will see people come and go. And some of them you're sad, and some of them you are very happy. So just be very careful about who you choose to be on your team, because you just might get them.
Yeah. No, no, no. That's very true. Gotta weed out the snakes, for sure. And you're right. You don't want anyone that's pulling your energy in a different direction that's not a positive direction. So
Yeah.
very noted.
Yeah.
I want to ask, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give to your younger self with all that you've accomplished in 15 years with the film festival, but also just in life? What is, that big piece of advice you would give to a younger Ron?
Um, I would say, looking back, the biggest things that I would do, and this might come from my mom, who's very, very sweet, and it's going to sound a little selfish because, there's people that think Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or whoever those people are that run companies are jerks, or Steve Jobs at Apple. But there is so much truth to sticking with your vision and not letting what I call people put oily fingerprints on your painting. Because when you have a clear idea of what that picture should look like, and you let other people's, I have a great idea. You know what you should do instead? People want to touch things that they think are really cool. People want to touch things that they think are going to give them those accolades with their friends. And maybe they see that I did that. That's the Catalina Film Festival, but I did that part. And you have to be very clear about your vision and not be so nice to always listen to people, even if you trust them, even if you think that they are worthy of the praise. You can't go against your visions. If you go against your vision, these are the only times I've ever gotten in trouble. I always had a very clear idea of what I wanted from what I thought this could be. And nobody can see that except for you. And it's the same for me, even if I was counseling someone else. I don't see it how you see it. I don't see that love and passion that you have for the history of the place, that's why you chose that location, or you think, oh, it's going to be the best idea because I'm totally into this idea of film and I think it's going to be an amazing film. No one's ever going to see the vision the way you see it. So when you start listening to people, and I have, and I've been guilty of this, it's when things went wrong on a production for a film I was doing, or it's when things went wrong at the Catalina Film Festival, or even in the Catalina Film Institute, because I gave in and then I started to see it spiral down in a certain area. So I would tell myself years ago, just stay strong, man. Like, I know it's tiring and I know you get beat up and I know you almost want to lean on people more when the chips are really down, because it's so much easier to do that and go, okay, let's go with your idea. I'm tired of getting beat up. Let's just go with your idea. I'm tired of getting beat up. And as soon as you give those allowances out, that baby that you have, and the reason that I've kept this damn thing alive so long is because I had a friend, America Young, who started the Feel Good Film Festival years ago, which is no longer in existence, but she's a true person that I respect in the entertainment industry. And she said, and I asked her, can you help me with this film festival? She said, I will, but no more dead babies. And I was like, that's a horrific thing to say. What are you talking about? And she said, everyone has these great ideas. She's like, but then they kill them before they even start. And she's like, so I'll help you, but no more dead babies. I'm like, okay. So every year I'll like tell her our baby's 14, our baby's 15, like I'll text her. But that was sort of her thing too. It's like, if you have the vision, go for it, but stick with it. Because as soon, they talk about the band members that split up. You should be the soloist. You should go on a solo career. And they split the band up. As soon as you have people talking in your ear and you listen, that's when your vision starts to disappear. And that's when financial trouble can hit. That's when you can get sued by your lawyer for 4 years, which is public, so you can look that up. We won, but nobody wins in a lawsuit that lasts 4 years.
Yeah, those are some pretty expensive. Yeah, I won. I told you so. But yes, I hear that. Very good sound advice. You got to make sure you've got the right team together. And there are going to be people who do not want to see you successful. There are going to be people who do not get your vision. So I love how Ron said, paint your picture. Don't let anyone put the little oily, dirty fingers on it if you got a masterpiece. So I love that. Ron, you have been extremely inspirational. I love your drive, your hustle, starting something from nothing and watching it grow. No more dead babies. But honestly, I'm wishing you tons of success. Volunteer-wise, maybe we can talk offline and I can get you some volunteers to be part of the festival for sure.
I would
And
love
would
that.
love to brainstorm with you on the institute side, and the educational piece, and getting more community inclusion involved in that element. But again, what a wonderful evening speaking with you. I can see why the festival and the institute are successful. You've got it all going on, so keep it going. Don't let it stop. And again, just continued success. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Ron, do you have any closing marks?
First of all, thank you for saying that. And yes, I would love to talk. So feel free, reach out. Let's get something going. I wouldn't mind that at all. It's all about community. Um, don't look at me as the guy that's unattainable. I even told a good friend of mine that's really high up there in wealth management and on the Forbes list and Barron's list. These lists and all these accolades are stuff we dreamed about being on when we were younger. The truth is, when you get up to this level of these accolades, it's all just sort of a game that everyone's playing, and then you're always looking for your next thing. So like the stuff that you think I've achieved, thank you, but it's always just there, and then you can't buy a cup of coffee with it. I promise you, you can't buy a cup of coffee with it. And then we're always looking for like the next thing you can do, the next thing you can test yourself with. And that's sort of what we call living. So just keep pushing. Don't let anything hold you down. Don't let anything hold you down. Nothing can hold you down but you. Nothing.
There you go. We are our own worst enemies. We are our own doubters, right? Like, just believe in yourself, keep going, and others will see the vision. I think that's truth right there. That's some real talk. On that note, thank you everyone for joining us on Breaking the Biz tonight. And Ron, we're looking forward to another successful year at the Catalina Film Festival. Good luck to you and good health.
Thank you so much, Brett.
You got it. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
As we conclude another enriching episode, we hope you found inspiration in the stories shared today. Let's take a moment to honor Yes I Can's role in bringing Breaking the Biz to life. Yes I Can's commitment to empowering young people with disabilities through education, advocacy, and mentorship shines brightly, paving paths of opportunity and dialogue. This podcast celebrates the organization's dedication to nurturing talent and facilitating impactful discussions. Breaking the Biz is more than a podcast. It's a part of Yes I Can's broader mission to amplify voices, dismantle barriers, and craft a world that's more inclusive and accessible for everyone. Each episode is a chapter in our shared narrative of progress, education, and empowerment, driven by the spirit of Yes I Can. Thank you for spending your time with us on Breaking the Biz. Continue to challenge the status quo and share stories that resonate. Until our paths cross again, let's keep transforming aspirations into achievements and infuse every endeavor with optimism. Here's to advancing the landscape of the entertainment industry, one episode at a time. I'm your host, William Felber. See you next time.